I'm gonna tell a story right now, so listen. Once upon a time, there was a billy goat. He was a nice little billy goat. His name was Billy Joel. Billy Joel the billy goat. You know, he was pretty cool. You know, and he was walking around with his friend Elkin John, who was an elk, naturally. And they were walking around, just minding their own business, doing whatever billy goats and elk do, eating grass, I don't know, frickin' animal stuff. And one day, as they were walking around, they were doing their own thing, they decided they wanted to go to the bar, have a few drinks, so they went to the bar, and they got there, and, the bar was on fire, and, everyone was freaking out, like, oh no, our favorite drinking spot, it's gone. And, pretty soon someone came up to Billy Joel and said, hey, man, did you do this? And, Billy Joel looked at Elkin John and turned to the man who accused them and said, hey, man, we didn't start the fire. And, then they believed him and everything was okay after that. Then as Billy Joel and Elkin John were looking for a new drinking spot, they needed somewhere to drink. Someone walked up and said, no way, it's Billy Joel and Elton John. Can I have your autograph? I'm a big fan of your music. You guys make great music. And Billy Joel's like, what is this music you speak of? Is it like, kind of like mucus? But, not. It's music, mucus. So Billy Joel and Elkin John were confused because, they're animals. They don't know what friggin' music is, So they asked the man, and he explained to them, oh, well, music is a thing that's hard to explain. And Billy Joel, hearing, about this music thing, they were so intrigued. They thought, oh, crap, man, this sounds so epic. I kind of want to go to music school. Let's, learn how to make music. So they went to music school, and they had an awesome time, and it was super fun, and everyone was just, they got decent grades. They got, mostly B's and C's, because frickin' billy goats and elks are very discriminated against, alright? So frickin', it's quite a problem that needs to be dealt with, it's quite a problem. So, their teachers, they kind of gave them, worse grades than they actually deserved. They probably could have been, A's and B's, but, the teachers lowered their grades because, discrimination, it's a problem in the animal kingdom. So they graduated, and they decided they wanted to, put out their own album on their own. They weren't signed or anything, so they, put out their own album, put out a rock album, and it was a solid album, man. They didn't sell too much, but, it was a solid start, right? They made some money, not a lot, but, it was solid. And they decided, we want to put out another album. We don't know, exactly, what genre we want to put out. We want to, mix up our genre a little bit. We don't want to stick with the same thing the whole time. Ain't about that life. So they decided they were going to put out another album, but this time it was going to be death metal, because, who doesn't like some good death metal, I know I do. So they put out a death metal album, and it was a hit. Everyone was listening to it, they played it on all the popular stations, and, just everyone loved it. Even people who didn't really like death metal, they were listening to it and like, oh dang, this is freaking awesome, man. It's freaking good. So suddenly, Billy Joel and Elkin John, they had all this money, they didn't know what to do with it, so they decided they were going to invest it in, something in the stock market, and things that you invest in. So they decided to invest their money in the one and only underwear company Hanes. There are no other underwear companies out there, just Hanes. Because a little earlier before Fruit of the Loom, they decided they didn't want to do underwear anymore. They went to selling fruit, like their name suggests. So they invested in underwear in Hanes, right? Because they figured, all right, underwear, it's a solid thing. People are going to be buying that for a while. It's underwear. You're not just going to stop buying underwear, right? So they invested in the underwear industry, and it was going well, Things were on the up and up. But then the underwear industry crashed, And they were like, oh, crap, man. We just lost all this money, What are we going to do now? So they decided to put out a new album to, make some money again. This time, they didn't even put out a music album. They put out a comedy album. They just told jokes the whole time, and it was a hit. People loved it, even more than, their death metal album. Like, people bought it way more. It was number one on the Billboard charts, for a while, and it was awesome. Everyone loved it. It was pretty tangy, man. So they had this money. They were trying to figure out what to do with it, so they decided to invest it, again. This time, though, they invested it in something a little smarter than underwear, because underwear, was a solid idea to begin with, but, let's move up to the big leagues now. This time, they invested in Q-tips, because frickin' no one's just gonna stop using Q-tips. You're not supposed to use them to clean your ears, but people do anyway, because frickin' what else are they for if you're not cleaning your ears, man? So they invested in the Q-tip industry, and it was super awesome, man. It was awesome. They made some money, investments. I don't know how that works. But then, oh no! Someone came out with a machine that would clean people's ears and keep them clean for the rest of eternity. They frickin' never need to clean their ears again. And it was horrible because, Billy Joel and Elton John, they lost all their money, all their investment. Poof, it was gone because everyone was buying this machine so that they would never have to clean their ears again. So the Q-tip industry just plummeted. It crashed. It was horrible, man. And, Billy Joel and Elton John, they were thinking, like, hey, this keeps happening to us with our investments. What are we going to do about this? We need to fix this, right? We need to do something about it. So they came up with an idea. They decided they were going to make a machine that would make everyone's ears dirty. And, like, frickin' you wouldn't be able to clean them. Even with this new epic machine, you can't clean your ears from this type of dirt. From this sort of earwax. It's like Shrek earwax. It's like you just frickin' it doesn't work, man. It's the only way to get it out is to, like, make candles out of it, but nobody wants to frickin' make candles out of earwax, so their ears were just dirty then, and everyone was freaking out, right? So Billy Joel and Elton John, they then advertised their own way to fix this dirty ear problem, and they made millions off of that. Billions, trillions. They made just so much freaking money off of this, man. It was crazy. They became trillionaires. And they were just so freaking rich, right? So they retired, they turned off the machine and everything, They quit selling their product, everything went back to normal. They took the machine, they just, hid it in a closet, because, they don't want people to find it. It was kind of illegal to do that, They were, like, kind of supervillains, but, lame supervillains, because they weren't trying to take over the world or anything. They just were making people's ears dirty. So Billy Joel and Elton John, they went on with their lives. They lived their lives normally. It was all cool. It was all good. It was Gucci. And, so they were living in their mansion that they bought with their trillions of dollars, and they had maids to clean up the mansion. But one day, one of the maids opened up the closet and saw the machine and knew what it was. She figured out what it was. And so she called the police. The FBI came, and they were like, you're super villains. You're going to prison for the rest of eternity. So, they went to trial. They went to court. And, they were found guilty of making people's ears dirty with a machine. And so they went to prison, and they lived the rest of their lives in prison. And it was sad for them. Billy Joel and Elton John, and animal prison is worse than frickin' regular human prison. Because animal prison, like, Billy Joel was just made into goat curry. And Elton John was, put to manual labor. It's pretty bad for them. So the moral of the story is don't go to music school, because it'll screw with your life.